Right, morning traders. Happy to see you guys again. Aiman here. Welcome to Morning Cuppa. Right. So looking at the S&P 500, the index has went up yesterday by 8 points to close higher above the 6,300 level. So the index now has breached the resistance level and eyeing for the higher resistance. So sentiment-wise, the broader US market are now looking positive as the momentum around the earnings heighten. So if you notice, the confidence for this round of earnings was at the eye of investors rather than the tariff. So as such, we expect that the S&P to remain bullish now that the index has broken above the 6,300. It may propel higher or travel higher towards the 6,500 level. Support now is high at 6,100 support level. Right, looking at our US trading stocks that we publish overnight, we have Coinbase. Coinbase. So the stock has breakout above the 400 level and is eyeing for 450 resistance level. And if the momentum remains steady, you can expect the stock to test the next resistance at 500 level. Now, if the momentum to reverse lower, make sure to have a stop loss at 350 US dollar level, as it possibly indicates a possible change of trends. Up next, we have Pinterest. So if you can see that the stock is now has breached above the 37 US dollar level and eyeing for 39 US dollar level. Well, if the momentum to maintain and able to breach higher above the 39 US dollar level, the next level that we see is at 41 US dollar level. Support is now back at 35 US dollar level. Right, looking at the Hang Seng Index futures, so yesterday it extended the bullish momentum, adding 129 to close higher at 24,984 points, forming a higher high, which reinforced the bullish view of the market. So sentiment now remains positive, looking at the Hong Kong, China market specifically. If you remember, the China has kept its rate unchanged. I think that the economic growth remains strong. So investors now are pretty much positive with the Hong Kong market right now. Right. So from here, referring back to the charts, we keep our positive bias unchanged. We observe that the 26,000 level is achievable as long as it able to breach above the 25,000 psychological level. Right now, looking at the WTI crude price futures, it decreased slightly by 10 cents to end the session at 66 US dollar. So we are still monitor the 70 US dollar zone for now. Well, in terms of demand, we believe the sentiment is now upbeat, which underpinned by the better economic performance by the consumer country. Well, on the other hand, supply-wise, if you notice over the weekend, there's this EU's or European Union's new sanction towards the Russia have triggered the concern on the oil supply. So we are still anticipating that the price to trend within its channel with the catalyst surrounding the oil market. It should support the oil price to propel further. But like I mentioned earlier, we are still monitoring the 70 US dollar zone in the sessions ahead. Right, looking at our FKLI here. So it has experienced a slight retreat yesterday, losing by 2.5 points to close at 15 to 5.5. Sorry, 1525 points. So referring to the charts, the index now tested and rejected also the blue box zone for now, or rectangle consolidation zone. So as of yesterday, market remains volatile. Sentiment holds on the negative side. Well, for now, we keep our bearish outlook for the FTLI, eyeing for the 1485 points. Well, as a result, if you take a look at the trading volume, it dipped a bit. Also looking at the fund flows, stats, local instis are now selling, as well as, I mean, amid the recent sell down. So referring to the day-to-day sector performance, the industrial production, as well as the energy sector was the only one in green as compared to the other sectors. I think uh, investors now are showing a preference for the, I would say, selective positioning rather than a broad selling or risk-off mode. All right. So today, we do have some counters that are worth looking at, and some of them are in our pending breakout waiting list, like Kawan Energy. Also, we have added Coraza. Also, some names that uh, has underwent bullish breakout, like Penta, MN, and also Gamuda, right? So like I mentioned just now, we have added Coraza. So if you look at Coraza now, it is clearly that we are waiting for a pending breakout above this uh, I would say a triangle pattern, but more specifically above 51 cent. So if you see here, the 50-day moving average has started to cross above the 100-day moving average, showing that initial bullish signals. Right, looking at our Malaysia trading stock, so we have IGM Corp for today. So the stock is eyeing for a bullish breakout at 2 ringgit 90 cent, supported by the strong trading volume. So we expect the momentum to maintain and climb further to test the next resistance level at 3 ringgit 5 cent, followed by 3 ringgit 15 cent. So if it happened to break up below the 2 ringgit 80 cent and form a new lower low, so this could indicate a near-term pullback. So and also next we have Becca Group. So the stock has breakout above the 1 ringgit 49 cent. So should the momentum to hold in the coming sessions ahead, the counter potentially testing at 1 ringgit 58 cent, followed by the 1 ringgit 65 cent. So if the stock drop or break up below 1 ringgit 41 cent, this will open the door for a further correction phase. Okay, looking at the FCPO, if you take a look at the FCPO here, it experienced a pullback or a retracement on yesterday's session, losing 89 ringgit to end at 4226 ringgit. So if you look here, it has returned back to the channel after breakout, and we think that the breakout is it's a false breakout. It's a false breakout. So sentiment-wise, I think the reason why the momentum is slightly was due to the weaker export signals for the first half of July. So however, looking at the broader technical setup here, uptrend remains intact as it's on track to reach the 4.3 of even 4.4 in sessions ahead. So despite the false breakout, the structure or the bullish structure is still there. All right. I think that's all from me. I'll stop here and pass the floor to Iftar for his company update. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So today we have a company update on Suncon. So yesterday, Suncon had a briefing in regard to them clarifying that one of their staff has currently been investigated by the MACC in regards to certain engagements with subcontractors. I mean, based on news articles, this is in regard to certain kickbacks being received by a contract manager from subcontractors, that wanted to secure some jobs from Suncon. But uh, but we understand that this particular incident is more of an isolated kind of thing, given that it's between the contract manager alone with the subcontractors, and it does not reflect how does Suncon secures jobs from its clients. So, currently, um, investigation is still going on, and and in terms of as to what kind of projects that this particular case is related to, management couldn't give further details, given that the investigation is still going on. So they can only divulge as to which projects it involved, once the investigation is carried out and once the related staff has been taken action on. But I think more importantly, Suncor itself, has been upholding a strong level of internal controls. Uh, they have been asked to carry out audits by their own clients, and they themselves have been recently certified as an anti-bribery management system, or ABMS, back in May 2025, which indicates their willingness to invest to ensure that procurement processes are done in and if it's done with full integrity. It's just that, despite what sort of high levels of internal controls, has been put in place, that, wouldn't, of course, couldn't prevent a rotten apple in a company to do something wrong. So I think in terms of, to be fair to Suncon, this is somewhat to be an isolated case, and but of course, Suncon does have a strong, track record, be it in infrastructure, and as of now, it's data centers. But fundamentally, we believe that the company is strong. It's just that there could be some form of reputational risks moving forward. Of course, it doesn't pertain between Suncon and their main client, but of course, sometimes some reputational risk could give some bearing towards the chances of getting new jobs from main clients. But nevertheless, we make no changes to our earnings estimates, but we decide to just lower our governance score to to be more cautious on this recent incident. So as a result, we derive a new target price of 6 ringgit and 55 cents from 6 ringgit and 80 cents previously. Any related catalysts would, of course, be Suncon securing new infrastructure jobs, particularly Penang LRT, given that the last infrastructure job is secured was for the RTS back in 2022. So that's all from me, everyone. I'll pass on the floor to my colleague, Iftaar.
Hi, thanks, Adam. Good morning, everyone. So, we have two reports today. The first is for SD Guthrie and the other is Auto. So, let me just share my screen so that you can see it clearly. Okay. Yep. So, for SD Guthrie, we have a company update, and this is just to reaffirm on its stance on its JV industrial parks. So, so far, Guthrie has signed 7 MOUs with total area to be developed is up to 6,000 acres. So, recall that Guthrie has an initial target of developing 2,000 acres every year for the next 10 years. So, however, based on these 7 MOUs, only one has been signed with SPA, and this is the EcoWorld JV, and the area to be developed is up to 1,200 acres. And we estimate that the gain on disposal for this JV is to be around 510 to 520 million, excluding taxes. So this is expected to be realized by the end of 2025. And as for the remaining 6 of the MOUs, Guthrie is still in the process of finalizing the SPAs. And the management has guided that the closest SPA to be signed is the JV with SDPR on Carey Island. So recall that also Guthrie has a recurring EBIT of 500 million to 1 billion for the next 5 years. And the cash used obtained from this gain on disposal will be reinvested into upstream and downstream, as well as to be used for dividend payout. So lastly, on its solar ventures, Guthrie is still waiting for the successful bids of the LSS 5 Plus to be announced. And recall that Guthrie has submitted a bidding of 100 megawatts. However, we note that the ROI for this project is slightly lower than its industrial developments, and also lower than its 15 megawatt CGPP that will be commissioned by the end of 2025. So overall, we still make no changes to our earnings estimates, and we still haven't taken into account this huge estimated gain on disposal, which could double Guthrie's core profit. So these are the details of its industrial park JVs, and I'll stop here and move on to auto. So for the auto sector update, just a quick one before we move on to the TIV stats. So the first one is we are still of the assumption that the exemption for CBU EVs is unlikely to be extended beyond the end of 2025. And this is mainly because we believe that the government will want to attract players to manufacture EVs locally, as CKD EVs will still enjoy a tax holiday until the end of 2027. So it would be somewhat a counterproductive measure if the government were to also extend CBU EVs. And also, on the other hand, besides the ongoing price competition in the non-national segment, we are also wary of the OMV duty revision. So just to recall, this OMV duty revision was firstly announced back in 2019-2020, but it has been deferred 4 times, and the latest one is early this year, which has been deferred to the end of 2025. So assuming no further extensions, we could see a price hike of CKD cars of 10 to 30% starting from 1st January 2026. However, the finance ministry has stated that it is still in the midst of finalizing the pricing method, and guided that the 10 to 30% hike is unlikely to happen. So moving on to the stats, June TIV came in at 54.7 thousands, and this is 20% down month-on-month and 6% down year-on-year. And this month-on-month decrease was expected, however, given that there was a 1-week planned shutdown during festive season, which led to lower working days. So the biggest drop mainly came from Produa and also Proton. But for the non-national segment, we also saw a drop for Mazda and also Honda. So for July TIV, we are expecting a slight rebound, and this is mainly coming from the higher number of working days for July. So I'll stop here, and thank you so much, everyone, and happy trading.